Do you glance around sometimes and wonder what everyone's looking at, what they're looking for? By 2021, it's estimated more people around the world will have smartphones than running water. On the face of it, we seem distracted and fragmented by digital culture. But are we perhaps craving connection in new ways? Creating, sharing, reacting as never before? As we film this, every second, 8,000 tweets are sent into the Twitter sphere, 850 Instagram photos are uploaded, and there are 68,000 Google searches. In amongst the digital traffic, millions of jokes, videos, music samples and images are being shared, from friend to friend or anonymously on message boards. These are memes. Internet memes can often appear frivolous, sometimes almost random and frequently uncomfortable, but they're being churned out 24 hours a day, competing in an attention economy that draws web traffic and advertising revenue.
These circumstances of what it means to be a human being that's connected in this world has completely changed.
I think it's exciting and weird and strange and interesting. It is a bit scary though.
To try to grapple with this brave new world, I'm going to experiment with inventing and distributing some memes myself, meeting anyone from scientists,
That would be a good meme.
and internet gurus,
It's posted.
It's gone.
Yes.
to YouTube stars
Oh, that's disgusting, actually.
and a troll
Meme shared. Meme shared.
who'll tell me how to get more shares.
How do we make something go viral?
To understand our world today, I think we need to decode memes, how they've worked and spread in the past, and how they work and spread with dizzying speed in the present, how they don't just represent what we think, but also shape what we think. Memes have been around a lot longer than the internet. You can copy this at home if you like. The V sign, said to have started 600 years ago at the Battle of Agincourt, when English archers defiantly showed the French the fingers they'd used to draw longbows against them. It became a gesture of abuse, but then had a new lease of life in the Second World War. Churchill adopted the V as a symbol of resistance to fascism. The Allies used mass communication to encourage people across occupied Europe to graffiti V's for victory as a symbol of defiance. When American President Richard Nixon started using V for victory as he wound up the Vietnam War, hippie protesters recycled it as a symbol of peace, man. So up yours, victory, peace. A catchy cultural symbol that caught on with different generations and spread from person to person, mutating, changing its meanings, and being passed on again. In today's terminology, it's a meme. The intriguing question is, why do certain memes, like the V sign, become so successful, subject to seemingly endless reuse and reinterpretation, while most memes are just forgotten? Today, technology and mass literacy mean we produce and consume memes as never before. But which internet memes are going to have the viral success of something like the V sign? Luckily, someone is cataloguing the needles in the internet haystack. Launched in 2008, Know Your Meme is a kind of Wikipedia of memes, but more than that, a benchmark. When Know Your Meme catalogues a new meme, it gives it official status as a notable cultural event. So perhaps editor Brad Kim can tell me what's going on and why. Just why? Why should we take memes seriously?
You don't necessarily have to take memes seriously, but to be serious, we have a daily craving for things that are just so dumb that, you know, it leaves you with the feeling, I laughed a little harder than I should have. I think it's an escapism, you know? Certain literary devices that are used in memes are timeless, like non sequiturs, for instance. Not making sense intentionally, going against logic, WTF. One of my favorite videos on the internet is actually the 5-second video of a waffle falling over. The name of the video is Waffle Falling Over. The reason why I love it is it's very compact in setting up all the right jokes, which is you click on a video that says waffle falling over, and you're trying to imagine what this is gonna be like. It's exactly what it is, and you're left with this feeling that's kind of empty, but it's also like, what else did I really expect?
Do you have any advice for me in making a meme?
Hey, this is a people-approved idea. Don't try to focus too much about how far it's going to go. Intent shows through, especially if it doesn't deliver, then it's the worst case scenario, which is that it's the try-hard failing at an attempt to make virals.
I like that notion of the meme as a people-approved idea, a unit of culture that lives or dies depending on whether people share it. This is the key to the internet's irresistible rise. It's been driven by here today, gone tomorrow fads, unpredictable moments when jokes and technology collide and capture the imagination of internet crowds. The history of memes is littered with unlikely hits. Look at this. This is Dancing Baby from 1996. Actually, this isn't Dancing Baby from 1996, but you get the rough idea. A bit like the waffle, we couldn't actually source or afford the clip because this is regulated TV, not the unregulated internet. This is Dancing Baby from 1996, a short repeating clip known as a GIF. Or is it a GIF? There's a whole website devoted to the debate about how to pronounce it. 10 years later, this video of a boy biting his brother's finger was watched by 766 million people. Similar pratfalls and epic fails have become a staple of internet culture. Original content started to be created which generated fads that simultaneously existed in the real world and online. For example, planking, which exploded across the internet after 2011. And remember this, the Ice Bucket Challenge that went viral in 2014? Crucially, the web gave users the tools to copy original work, images and music, mash it up, remix and share, sometimes reaching millions more people than the original work did. It's a bit like when Andy Warhol took mass-produced and iconic photos from popular culture and turned them into garish, exclusive, limited edition prints. To me, Warhol's prints aren't a million miles away from internet memes that use existing content online. These DIY graphics, image macros, pictures combined with text have become so common that they're often simply referred to as being memes. To millions of people, this is what a meme is. Easy to share, easy to create or change. On the internet, the boyfriend is distracted. Movie star Ryan Gosling says, "Hey girl," and poor Harold grimaces for a vast range of reasons. But why do these macros need text when Warhol didn't? Back in the 1960s, the French philosopher Roland Barthes offered us a way to understand this phenomenon. Barthes deconstructed a Pasta advert, paying it the attention usually reserved for an art masterpiece, exploring the ways in which rich and complex meanings were conveyed by the deceptively simple combination of words and images. The text, he argued, helps us to anchor the meaning of the image. It's all a bit like Marcel Duchamp's 1919 take on the singular masterpiece, the Mona Lisa. He took a mass-produced poster of this one-off painting, added a moustache, and anchored and relayed new meanings with text, L-H-O-O-Q, or in French, L-H-O-O-Q. In other words, she's got a fine posterior, which Duchamp said helped explain her smile. On the internet, everybody is doing a Duchamp, using pictures and text. The difference now is that we own the means of production and dissemination. Now, audiences can be reached by almost anyone at a previously unimaginable speed. Back in Duchamp's time, or even Warhol's, you needed huge amounts of money and often a lot of political influence to get to that tipping point. Just as a quick aside, with my art historian hat on, perhaps that's why we visit museums in unprecedented numbers today, hungry for a one-to-one encounter with a unique, unanchored symbol. Museums like a clearing in the forest of modern symbols. Thanks for indulging me there. Now back to the memes. These are arguably the most famous picture and text combos. The lol cats, laugh out loud cats. It's simple, a picture of a cat and a superimposed type. It'd be easy to dismiss them as trivia, but this simple format has spawned a complex subculture with its own rules and norms, popularising new spellings and words. Amanda Brennan is the meme librarian at Tumblr, and she's a big lolcat fan, even though she's actually allergic to cats.
Lolcats were a great way for people who weren't very into computers to experience meme culture for the first time. The format of image macros, where text on the bottom, text on the top, that really comes out of lolcats. I think it does resonate with people wanting to find their expressive part of themselves and really express themselves in ways that they might not be able to do in their everyday life. And a lot of people identify with cats because they have such strong personalities. A lot of meme culture is about finding your identity, figuring out who you are. And if you can do it through the expressive nature of a cat, whether it be through lolspeak or in a GIF or a video, a lot of people can just explore their identity in a really playful way with cats.
What is lolspeak?
Well, the lol part is laugh out loud, and speak is the structure of the language around a lolcat. Lolcats came up in a time when people wanted to be way less serious about the internet. The image didn't really matter. It was more about the text and learning the lexicon, showing that you know it, taking these typical words like eat, human, and flipping them into something like eated, very cutesy. It's like when you step out and you get into a good book or a good movie. In lolspeak, you're getting into the world of lolcats and that kind of freedom that lolspeak provides.
Before meeting Amanda, I made some lolcats. Now I'm not sure I got them right.
Is this your first time making a lolcat?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No shame. It's everyone's first time sometime. So this first one, this is a great image. It's very stark. It's going to draw someone in. That paw is really good. The text, unfortunately, is totally off. It definitely needs to feel a little more cutesy. So I would scrap this text and make it something about a high five, like invisible high five, or I'm ready for my high five, human. But spelled human with O-O instead of U.
So how about this one? We take a bit of a political turn?
Politics doesn't always really work in a cat meme. You want to stick with something more wholesome, more positive, and that's really what resonates the best. It would probably be a caption about I could be president instead, because I'm sure people on Tumblr would want a cat to be president.
So we've had a go at a meta meme.
I love this.
Lolcat, you love this one?
I do. I love memes that are making fun of other memes, because meme culture, when you think about it, is just absurd. It's fun and it's playful, and so is this. This picture is incredible, this cat's face, on point. The language can just be cuted up a bit.
So have you got a recommendation?
Maybe something like I can has meta meme to make it even funnier. Just really playing on this incredible photo. We're gonna send the good one. And it's posted.
It's gone.
Yes, so excited.
Lolcats have got pedigree. Cats were a popular subject for early photography in the 19th century, featuring as part of a craze for picture postcards. In the 1870s, a Brighton photographer, Harry Pointer, started photographing cats in funny ways. He doubled down on the joke with written captions, but he could have made a killing if he'd known about lolspeak. Let's explore this a bit more. The internet is so a part of our lives that the norms and behaviours we associate with it beg the question, how new is all of this? After all, as we've seen, throughout human history, communities form, give themselves identity, and accord meanings around visual symbols. Very sticky symbols have always been flexible enough to be interpreted in new ways as the world changes and still make sense. Sometimes over the course of centuries. Take the skull and crossbones. We all know immediately what it means, danger, but it's hugely flexible in describing that danger.
You can't trust anyone these days.
Or what about the Christian cross or the Islamic crescent? Both are centuries old, and it's been argued were adopted from even earlier cultures. Both were flexible enough in their meaning to be valued by diverse groups of people with different worldviews at the same time. Like many other sticky symbols, they are rallying signs. They help people figure out who else is same and who is other. Talking of which, flags are among the most recognizable symbols of the modern world, used and abused endlessly. Like the best memes, flags have different meanings to different people who value the symbolism for often radically different reasons. Taking a longer view, biologists would argue that our ability to generate memes has been a motor of change, so beneficial to us over time that our genes have adapted to make us really good at it.
Do we have to go to distant worlds to find other kinds of replicator and other consequent kinds of evolution? I think that a new kind of replicator has recently emerged on this very planet. It is staring us in the face.
In his 1976 book, The Selfish Gene, the biologist Richard Dawkins used memes as a way to explain how religions, folk tunes, ways of making pots, and even origami spread over generations, long before the web.
Already, it is achieving evolutionary change at a rate which leaves the old gene panting far behind. The whole point about the selfish gene was all about natural selection at the level of genes, becoming more numerous in the gene pool, more numerous in the population. I wanted to make the point at the end of the book that genes are not the only possible replicator that could serve as a unit of natural selection. So instead I used cultural viruses. I actually called them mind viruses, and then said, I want a noun that sounds a bit like gene, and so coined meme. My meme comes from a suitable Greek root, but I want a monosyllable that sounds a bit like gene. I hope my classicist friends will forgive me if I abbreviate my meme to meme.
Do you think that historically there are groups of people who've been very successful at generating memes?
Absolutely. I mean, just as Genghis Khan was incredibly adept at propagating his genes, I mean, almost an entire world is descended from Genghis Khan. There are extremely fertile meme fountains who are giving off memes all the time. People like Martin Luther, Jesus. These are immensely productive generators of memes which have spread throughout the world in the same kind of way as Genghis Khan's genes.
Do you think that in early human history, our ability to transmit cultural information gave us a survival advantage?
If you take something like a really important cultural invention, like the wheel or fire, something like that, once that had been invented, it would have spread as a meme and would certainly have contributed to survival of civilizations and individuals and to the survival of the meme itself. Memes are competing for brain space or something like that. It's a revolutionary way of looking at it because one naturally thinks of it as a competition between people. But just as I changed that in the biological world to a competition between genes, I suppose I'm trying to do the same thing at the level of memes. Susan Blackmore has actually suggested that it has changed the way our brains are.
Once people started to imitate each other, then you would acquire status by being good at imitating. I mean, if you were the one who could light the fire or keep the fire going, you would acquire status, probably better mates, and pass on whatever genes you had for that ability.
There's a kind of co-evolution between genes and memes.
This is my argument for how we got such huge brains.
This is a big idea, that memes might have evolved in parallel with our genes to give humans big brains, big enough to make lolcats and do planking. Big enough today, perhaps, to filter out and disregard irrelevant, annoying or unhelpful memes. Perhaps this is why some memes stick and others don't. A Darwinian survival of the fittest? Creating a successful meme is certainly an iterative process. 99 out of 100 don't work. The meme world is red in tooth and claw.
Why can't I clean the stains off my dental plates with toothpaste?
Nowhere has there been a more exacting testing ground for memes than advertising. A daily dirty battle between clever meme creators and our limited and readily distractible attention. Robin Wight is an advertising legend. He knows.
When Richard Dawkins invented the concept of memes in the mid-70s, He was explaining what ad men had been practicing intuitively, the idea of jingles, the idea of slogans. People had found out by trial and error that some things worked better than others. This was, if you like, an evolutionary battle which the strongest memes won. You remember a jingle, a brand, and a slogan even after the brand is dead. For example, one we created back in '94 was "The future's bright, the future's orange." That brand is now dead, but in surveys, the 9th best remembered slogan is "The future's bright, the future's orange."
Can you give me an example from your career of something that really stuck and what made it sticky?
We were given 118, 118, and we knew there could be lots of other brands all starting with 118. How could we make ours stand out? Well, we're helped by the numbers. So, first of all, twinning is an iconic concept inside Castor and Pollux. We know twins are already special. So we made our brand characters echoing the 118, 118. And then we made them memorable. We put moustaches on them. We made them iconic. We made them runners. We used some other mimetic tricks. Repetition. Got your number, got your number, got your number, got your number. Then we used Rocky, the music of Rocky. We borrowed iconography. So a lot of mimetic, just adding all sorts of layers and symbolism to the core brand proposition.
Symbolism, layers of meaning, humour to build connections. These are all clearly staples of a successful meme. But back in the digital world, if we were to translate those ingredients, would this be the result? Simple, hackneyed, weird. Emoji are said to be used more frequently on Twitter than hyphens or the numeral 5. Here are the eye worms of our 21st century lives.
I think the official number is something like 6 billion are sent per day.
6 billion?
Yes.
Amazing. I'm sitting for my emoji by the pioneering UK emoji designer, Emma Hopkins.
And if you just look to the right, and slightly turn your head up. And give me a smile. Okay, I think we're done. If you want to come and have a look.
Yes, please. It's Claymoji. Does that really look like me?
For a difference in expression.
Yeah, that's much more me. I look about 12.
The set expands and grows as society calls for a new emoji. Last year, an avocado emoji was released, and it was because there was such demand. Like, it makes major headline news.
Lovers have successfully wooed one another with emoji. Recruiters for ISIS, sometimes also known as Daesh or Islamic State, have used emoji in their promotional tweets. Someone even translated Moby Dick into Emoji Dick.
Living in such a digital age, we have most of our conversations over WhatsApp or messengers or social media. I think it's important to add an emotive cue to what we're trying to say. They add atmosphere to a conversation. For instance, if I am sending you a message and I'm trying to joke around or I'm being sarcastic, you might not necessarily understand that tone. But if I put a little, laughing face on the end, you'll be like, oh, she's only joking. Whereas otherwise it could be perceived as quite blunt.
So are emojis doing the work that body language and facial expression do in conversation?
Yes, yeah.
A 2015 survey by Bangor University found that almost 3/4 of participants aged between 18 and 25 felt more comfortable expressing themselves using emoji than words.
So what do you think the future of emojis is?
Samsung and Google now have apps where you can create your own emoji based on a picture of your face. So it will scan the image of you, it will scan your hair length and your eye color and the shape of your face. And then that will become your emoji.
This is the most massive dissemination of self-portraiture in history.
Yeah.
Like lolcats, emoji aren't as new as you might think. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein, during a lecture in the 1930s, argued simple expression can convey emotion far more articulately than people using words. He sketched 3 simple faces. He said, in fact, if we want to be exact, we use a gesture or a facial expression. From cats to Darwin, from advertising to little pixelated faces, here's what I'm discovering about why internet memes snaffle our attention, tug at our emotions, or make us want to pass them on.
It begins with the blueprint of mimetic engineering.
Simplicity. Keep it simple, stupid. The best memes are direct and very simple with a low barrier to entry. Many successful image macros and GIFs have got punchlines already, and people can easily rework them by simply creating a new and surprising feed line. It's the same in political protests. Simple gestures that can be easily replicated can be hugely powerful. A clenched fist symbol, or kneeling during the American national anthem, it's authentic and not approved. It's by the people, for the people, and it's an effective, free, repeatable symbol anyone can imitate. Humour. Meme humour plays with our expectations, giving us what we want. Like the imagined dialogue between Barack Obama and Joe Biden, or it plays against expectations, from pratfalls to something a little edgier.
Humor is the way that people have been talking back to power for millennia. The whole point of the court jester was to couch sharp critiques in a humorous way.
Insight. Memes don't always have to be funny. They can offer quite serious observations about human nature. A meme can tell us a truth about ourselves. This is fine is a two-panel image of a dog trying to reassure itself that everything is fine, despite sitting in a room that's engulfed in flames, playing on self-denial in the face of a hopeless situation. It speaks to something deep in the human condition.
We copy things to other people because we want to show off, because we want to be liked, because we're frightened. We just will go on pouring stuff out there.
Visuals. The most successful internet memes communicate using visual content. TLDR. Too long, didn't read. That's the common response to the sheer volume and complexity of material on the internet. Quick and direct, images beat text in the competition for attention spans. Humans were a visual species long before we started to talk, and well before we started to write. It's estimated that the first cave paintings were created 40,000 years ago, the first writing 5,000 years ago. Some visual memes echo through history. Here are the precursors of Hollywood CGI monsters and hard-bitten heroes. Pictures have a way of resonating, allowing us to read between the lines and tell a story. Controversy and debate. Remember this? An interrupted financial interview that went viral in 2017? It was simple, visual, unexpectedly funny. But the thing that really sent it stratospheric was the furious debate that followed about why people assumed the woman snatching the children away was a nanny, not a wife.
My apologies.
When there are two opposing camps, there will always be a longer trail of memes left behind.
Sharing. Great memes are memes you want to share. They say something to your peers, your in-group, about your personality and, crucially, what you feel. Many people feel that little says more about them than the videos they choose to share. That's a theory anyway, for the people who call themselves social publishers. These are the officers of Lad Bible, one of the top 3 publishers of viral content globally. Lad Bible reaches 1 billion people a month.
Elsa's put a video out, so very quickly she'll be able to ascertain how it's doing compared to previous pieces of content we've done, and just by looking at the engagement rates we've gotten so far.
So we've just put out a video of a dog rolling in the mud, basically. It's a submission, so one of our audience has sent it in, and it's got 7 shares, 25 comments.
So what would you be hoping for after 5 minutes?
Usually about 200 comments, 100 shares. They're the main things that we focus on.
And every one of those shares could lead to hundreds more shares.
Yeah.
And it just goes viral at that point, right?
So this video should do, say after 24 hours, do about 3 million, 3.5 million?
Yeah, something along those lines. 2.5 to 3 mil it should do.
And that's just another day at the office?
Yeah, it's not a good day at the office, yeah. Social publishing is very much driven and led by the audience. If they engage with your content, if they comment, if they share, if they click, you know within seconds, and you know to do more of that.
So a lot of content online can seem really niche, but it actually reaches a massive audience. What do you think that reveals about us?
I think a lot of us can sometimes think that maybe individually we're a bit weird or we might be interested in things that maybe other people aren't. I think the internet is potentially a bit of like a lens for actually other people like the same weird things that we do. When you want to share that and you be proud of it, it becomes almost like a social badge of honour that you and 10 million other people feel exactly the same.
So some people think that social media is quite shallow. Do you think that's fair? The reason I ask this is that I've been impressed by their editorial meeting earlier.
Next thing then, original ideas. Who wants to kick us off? Stu?
They have a veterans retreat, but it's actually been open to victims of terrorism.
We haven't done anything on Ed Gein before. He's the guy who's literally inspired, like, the movie Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We could speak to a mental health charity and see if there was, like, a rise in phone calls and things last week.
Been looking into Crocs and the material they're made from. They've been found not to be biodegradable.
Veganism is not cruelty-free, apparently. Right, yes, good ideas today, guys. So we'll get a hustle on and have a good day, yeah?
I think when we talk about our editorial tone of voice or what we cover, someone positioned it as you want to hang out with someone that can be funny, can be serious, can, you know, have an opinion, can host a conversation all at the same time and kind of mix it up. If someone tries to be funny all the time, they get annoying. If someone's really serious, they're too heavy and you're not going to hang out with them too much.
So how do you get a video to go viral?
We've done a few pieces where we've got people who you wouldn't expect to be together. So I think there was a piece of Judi Dench and Lethal Bizzle. One's a kind of beloved actress, one's a grime artist.
One more time, let's go. Pow! Yeah, I'm Juice to the D. Pow! If you don't know about me, pow!
It's just things you wouldn't imagine to see in your day-to-day that kind of tap into a feeling that because it's so out of the ordinary, you share it with your friends, but have you seen this? Pow! It's that have you seen this kind of essence that translates across the internet.
OK, time for our next meme. I'm going to pitch Lab Bible an idea for a viral video. It'll involve another national treasure we've just met, Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins invented the notion of the meme in 1976. Do you think we can make a viral film about Dawkins?
I think one of the really important things is the first 10 seconds. So those 10 seconds are where you need to capture the user.
No, I don't.
It's like the headline of an article, so you pick the biggest hook, pick the best part of the video, show a tiny clip of it at the start, get them hooked.
You can say that again.
It's got to be snappy, it's got to have imagery that they're going to be hooked on watching and they're going to watch till the end.
If the last clip is something that you really engage with, then that's going to be the feeling that you carry through after that into your action. So that's the bit that's going to make you share it.
How long do you think it should be?
Maybe like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, I'd say.
So it's like the charlatans said, always leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
So here goes.
Nobody knows what the meme is anymore. It should be pronounced to rhyme with cream. Meme? You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. So that's a bad meme. I coined the word meme, but now it just means some text over an image. You can say that again.
So we've seen how memes evolved. We've found out that they appeal to our emotions and help us build connections. Now the big question is, what does it all mean? How do these global cultures of memes impact on our societies and politics, especially our politics? Perhaps the answer lies once again in symbols from the past. Long before the internet, before TV and radio, another technological change spread a meme to powerful effect. In 1830s France, Charles Philippon, a Parisian publisher of lithographs, began to issue cheap, popular prints that depicted King Louis-Philippe as a pear. The pear quickly became a popular image scrawled on the walls of Paris. Lithographs had amplified the spread of a meme in the streets in the form of graffiti. Today, the pear has its equivalent in literally millions of images and cartoons proliferating across the internet. And graffiti and the internet sometimes still feed each other, rather like lithographs and graffiti of pears, like the radio and scrawled V's on walls in Nazi-occupied Europe. There's always been a potential multiplier effect between mass media and the street.
Come close to hear your future.
You're really, really pathetic. Do you people see this loser? Get him out of here.
At the Design Museum in London, this exhibition explores the shift in political memes since the election of Barack Obama in 2008. It traces how the so-called alt-right, on anonymous message boards, took children's cartoons like Pepe the Frog and turned them into symbols of hate. With their directness, appeal to tribalism and emotions, memes are deployed as weapons to get a rise or reaction. The exhibition, titled Hope to Nope, hints at how online and offline politics and culture have become intertwined. It's almost like TV turned politics into entertainment, but social media has turned it into a virtual playground full of funny kids, bullies, victims, using memes as their means of attack and defence. These rival factions are fighting what some see as a culture war, raging through the disruptions of Brexit and Donald Trump's election to the US presidency. Digital entrepreneur Kenyatta Chi sees 2016 as the critical turning point when the internet meme hit the mainstream.
That was the moment where all of a sudden you have US presidential candidates talking about Pepe the Frog being a symbol of hate. You have memes being turned, image macros being turned into sort of like ideological IEDs and being spread on in places like Facebook. And you have a lot of people who have never seen this before, who have never really truly understood the cultures that went along with it, or understood what people were actually doing with memes, coming in and coming in all of a sudden passing judgment, but also having a lot of fear around these things. The idea that image macros, that viral videos can be taken and used in a different context in order to try to sway opinion, right? It's been happening forever, right? But here was a time where it felt like it mattered.
I don't care. I really don't.
There's a lot of anxiety, especially in the mainstream press nowadays, around information bubbles, that people just get fed the same old thing.
I don't think it's a negative, though. I don't think it's a bug, it's a feature. It's how we find commonality and we maintain those connections. To me, the difference between our grandparents sort of in their own groups, reading the same information, the effect that you could have on the world was fairly limited. Where now, we're all nodes on a giant network. It is really easy to get an idea from St. Petersburg, Russia, to the Facebook feed of somebody in Kansas, right?
Almost any symbol can become a weapon in anyone's efforts to shape other people's thoughts and feelings. Just cut, paste, and share online.
I wonder if this is the awkward teenage years of the global society, right? It's the time where you start to question who you are. All of a sudden, you start using these labels in order to not just identify yourself, but identify other as well. And so if I'm labeling the mainstream, I'm maybe going to call them normies.
Normie.
Or if I'm politically right, but I'm not going to, I don't want to identify with like the 60-year-old politicians, maybe I call myself the alt-right.
Alt-right.
You have a group of people who feel disaffected. You have a group of people who, for whether justified or not, feel as if their identity is being challenged, and they're trying to find ways to express it.
The alt-right and the people who are affiliated with that are people who have been, engaging in meme making and are sort of at the heart of the culture that spawned meme culture. So there's this, deep level of digital cultural literacy that was happening.
The spread of memes has always meant trouble for someone. They're recycled to cause outrage or to provoke debate. Is offence just part of the process? On the internet, these heavily ironic and edgy memes are called dank. I'm meeting YouTube comedian Tom Walker to explore the boundaries of humour, satire and politics on the internet. Where is dankness leading us?
I think there is a general anarchy to it by its very nature of people just throw stuff out there and see what kind of happens. It doesn't have to go through this filter of this sort of political correctness and commissioning editor before it ends up in this very diluted manner on television. So maybe that's what's distinctive, is that it's unfiltered, that it can be offensive, that it can be brilliant, that it can be immediate, that it can actually just be a bit shoddy.
In other news, Muslims are bad, China's bad, but not as bad as it used to be, and Russia is always bad.
This is Tom Walker's comic creation, the irascible reporter Jonathan Pye. A way of sending up the news that has scored millions of hits.
What Pye allows people to do is they go, this is what I think. He's venting their frustrations about Brexit, about Trump, about the Tories, to a certain extent about the left and their censoriousness and their snowflakiness, if you like.
No, I'm doing the news.
Look at this piece of satire, but he represents my brand. That's what makes him sticky.
A kind of identity shortcut?
In a way, yeah. This guy believes in what I believe. I think also people thought it was real. Like, look at this British journalist losing it.
Morning, Tim. Morning. Howdy. How was Washington?
The biggest video by far that I've had and will ever have is my response to Trump winning the White House.
And that's on how many now?
Over all the platforms, it's roughly 150 million. It's crazy.
Hillary Clinton, don't get me wrong, I wanted Hillary to win. I'd personally vote for Lucifer over Donald Trump. Trump, the pussy-grabbing, wall-building, climate-change-denying, health-care-abolishing, tax-dodging, shit-spewing demagogue. How shit have you got to be to lose to that?
So why did this one do so well?
It blamed everyone, so it annoyed everyone, so it got a discussion going. It's a vent. The reason this one worked so well is because me and my co-writer didn't think it would work, because we decided to let go. We decided we'll write what we think we believe rather than what we think other people will believe.
Intent shows through.
Thanks, Brad. A fascinating question is whether all this venting and irony can go too far. Is there a too far?
Well, there is a too far, depending who you're talking to. Offence and humour are so closely linked. You know, it's subjective. What makes you laugh might not make him laugh. Neither of you are wrong. A real laugh, as well as a real ooh, so closely linked. But it is an emotional reaction that you can't hide.
Lots of inane comments like lol.
Memes can certainly split opinion. A distinctive element of our culture today often seems to be visceral disagreement. Tom defends the right to free speech on the internet, but he's been attacked bitterly for it.
It was a joke,
You think slightly differently to me when it comes to freedom of speech. Therefore, you must be alt-right. Therefore, you must be a Nazi apologist. There's no way to win a political debate going, you're a bigot, la, 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 la. That seems to be their modus operandi. If you disagree with us, you must be a bigot.
The world of memes is direct. It provokes emotional responses and it can polarize. The perfect environment for those who like to shout boo anonymously and run away. We used to think of trolls as sad, lone individuals taking out their personal issues on the world under a cloak of online anonymity. Trolls have gone mainstream. Sometimes a troll is a paid social media user twisting online discussions. Other times, a troll is actually an automated bot rapidly spreading invective and disinformation online. Some regimes have cottoned on to the idea of using trolls to manipulate public information and disinformation in rival states, influencing people to support their interests.
I've had email chains smearing me. I've had troll attacks on Twitter, harassment on Facebook.
The Finnish journalist Jessica Arrow has been investigating the impact of Russian propaganda in Finland since 2014.
The thing that the trolls and propagandists wanted to do was to silence me, to make me so scared that I would stop myself of continuing my investigations. But instead of that, I did the opposite. As the months and years went on, more and more hate speech was all the time produced about me. I was being sent memes all the time. So here they are saying that I make home visits, and they basically frame me as a prostitute. Here, trolls made music video.
Edes tiedä, kuka nämä trollijutut keksi, mut sen mä kyllä hippasin, tää onhan minun pesti.
They are framing me as some kind of mentally ill person who has made up all these a Russian troll phenomenon only from my imagination. Another photo manipulation. The trolls say, and the neo-Nazis say, that I am restricting their freedom of speech.
How does all this make you feel?
Well, how would you feel when you had a text message from your dead father who's observing you, having, you know, unknown people sending you death threats because they have been reading just trash about you and believing in it? Obviously, it's nasty. The Russian information operations are designed specifically to target my emotions, to target everyone's emotions. Whatever they write online, I understand that they get paid for it, and I get paid for what I do. So we have these different jobs, and I really feel pity that they have such jobs.
Jessica Arrows is an extreme case amongst many. Trolling with fake news is the new currency of politics in the memetic age.
The dishonest, lying media.
The sad thing is it's effective. A 2018 MIT study found that fake news can spread faster and deeper than real news. Analysing 126,000 contested news stories over 10 years on Twitter, tweeted by 3 million users, it found hoax and rumour were more widely shared than truth. On the internet, it would seem noise wins. Then again, have we ever lived in a time of truthful news? All news is just a representation of actual events, a selective take. To explore this further, I went to actually meet a troll under a bridge. A troll on a mission to combat online racism and xenophobia.
A troll is somebody who goes on the internet just to make people upset. A liberal troll is somebody who goes on the internet to make a conservative upset.
Christopher Blair, aka Buster Troll, is a self-proclaimed liberal troll who makes a living publishing fake news stories that might appeal to the alt-right. He puts implausible content out there to provoke a reaction. The alt-right unwittingly steals his satirical posts, sharing them online without irony.
After the economy crashed in 2008, I was left with a family of 4 without a job. After working construction for 20-some-odd years, I was angry at my government. So I took the anger, I went to Facebook, and I started a page, and I started to make memes, liberal memes, you know, supporting liberal causes. And the conservative trolls started to come to my page. They started attacking me. So I had to create a persona to fight off the trolls, which is where I came up with Buster Troll. We market our page at conservatives in the area of 60 years old and better. They are extremely biased. They are extremely uneducated. And what we do, we pull them into the comments because these are some of the worst racists and xenophobes on Facebook. They comment racist things. The trolls that are patrolling the page report them. They get their little Facebook timeouts. It may seem trivial, but when you do that 30, 40, 50 times, sometimes in a day or a week, you're eliminating a lot of hate from Facebook. So that's one of the reasons we do what we do.
Can you show me a recent example of the kind of thing you've done?
Yeah, this is a great one here. Illinois state senator introduced legislation that would give Wakandan refugees a sanctuary city of Chicago monthly income of $2,000. Of course, Wakanda is the fake country in the new Black Panther movie. It's an absolutely ridiculous story that was shared almost 400 times by people who don't care that it's ridiculous. It confirms their bias that they hate refugees and so on and so forth. This is probably our greatest meme of all time. Sharia law must be stopped. If you mention Sharia law, these people go crazy. Under Governor Brown, students in California are now required to learn Arabic numerals. That's right, 0 through 9. Comment 1 to 10 how much this angers you. Oh, the irony. And you can see all the angry reacts from all the 36,000 people who think their poor children are going to have to learn how to write 0 through 9. 36,000 shares, 11,000 comments. I'm so angry about Sharia and all of their habits. You come to my country, you obey my country's laws. 3.6 thousand people hit the love react on that because they agree with this woman. It's amazing how absolutely uneducated people can be over something so simple. And this isn't something that you couldn't Google in 5 seconds.
Your site's a satire, but your critics say that they're fake news.
It's funny because I get emails from reporters all the time wanting my sources. And I tell them my source is in my head. You are fact-checking fiction. This is satire. I made it up.
So when over 100,000 people share one of your parodies, how does it make you feel about human nature?
It makes me sad that there can be so many people that would be so willing to just believe something and send it along so easily. The one bit of solace that I get out of that is it doesn't last long. People believe them and then they get told by reasonable people who say, no, this is not real. My reason for hope doesn't come from my page. It comes from my kid. I've got a 16-year-old daughter who lobbied me to take her to March for Your Lives in Washington. So my reason for hope lies with the younger generation.
So, Chris, we've been trying to cook up some memes of our own, see whether we can get a response. Do you want to have a look?
Sure.
So here's our first one. What do you make of that? Is it going to go viral?
Feminazis running British TV, God bless America, that's wonderful. They'll love that. The problem that you're going to have is, see all this stuff here? These are words, syllables, and they mean things. This is what we call TLDR, too long didn't read. Your average American liberal will read 200 to 300 words. Your average American conservative will read 6 to 8 syllables.
So we keep the headline and...
You keep the headline, you put a picture of a cat wearing an American flag, and you're good to go.
OK. So second time lucky?
Sure.
This one's a bit more visual.
OK. Oh, that's much better. British PC madness. BBC bosses enforce Ramadan dress code. Welcome to Britannistan. They're going to love that. Oh, boy. You know, what you've done here is you've taken 16 syllables and you've put them together in a way that really will appeal to your average, you know, ignorant American. So it's powerful imagery. You've got a woman in a hijab. You've got a reference to Muslims. The fact that it's British and BBC may, you know, decrease the amount that this could go viral, but that absolutely could work, without a doubt.
That would be a good meme.
So we put it out there and see whether people pick up on it?
Sure, we can. I'd be happy to. You'll know within the first 10, maybe 15 minutes tops if you've got something that's going to go places. I mean, this looks like a great meme, but it could get 0 shares. So you're out there now, your meme has been presented to about 400,000 people.
Meme shared.
Meme shared.
As Buster thought, the British angle meant that our Britannistan meme didn't do so well across the Atlantic. But Buster then reversioned it for an American audience, and it got traction. And as a quick roundup for full disclosure, our Richard Dawkins video got on Lad Bible, and our lolcat got 5 likes.
So that's a bad meme.
Well, I'm more of a dog person anyway.
In the long term, I have a lot of faith in people. I have a lot of faith in us. We learn.
Billions of people on the planet choosing to watch this and not that, or to pass on this and not pass on that, or to take that and do, oh, I'll do a little quirk and pass that on. So here is the most amazing new evolutionary explosion of creativity.
Memes come and go in a culture so sped up as to sometimes seem almost meaningless. But their production and reception are, and always have been, a window into popular culture as it really is. Impulsive, derisive, bawdy, contested, skeptical of experts and of authority. Memes are also testimony to human inventiveness and playfulness. At their best, memes are about engaging people, about our senses of belonging. They're little packets of digital information flying around, but also deeply human.